Flight Forward, or How to Become a Modernist Superhero.
The context is important. We, you, this occasion, this place and this moment. We are not offering solutions, but leverage points and directions to new territories. What is this new that we long for and consume every day? A fetish for permanent new aesthetic stimuli without qualitative change? Repeatedly reheated leftovers? We cannot go back, and we wouldn't want to, even if we could. The bridges to the past are broken down. Romanticism is an ambush. Modernism is the only mindset with the demand to overcome itself and to be absolutely open for the upcoming changes and to everyone, no matter where he or she comes from.
If the accelerated creation of new aesthetic stimuli currently actually acts to stabilize capitalism, does this make us its accomplice? We, ourselves, are creative producers, and our relation to modernism is personal. The fight for political participation, citizen rights, equality of chances, and care for others, as well as a critique on technological developments, help to prepare the ground on which individual fulfillment is possible for everyone in the first place. Social critique doesn't have to operate with aesthetic means, but it needs our creativity. Can we escape this paradigm without giving up our profession? Can we, as creative producers, incite positive impulses to society? Or are we too much of a part of the problem?
In everyday or profanatory creativity, producers and audience are identical. To support profanatory creativity means to enable people to enjoy creative practice without the need of profiling themselves in public. We can make everything. We can make it ourselves, for ourselves, and we can show each other how to make it. The possibilities are endless.
Class society is not a thing of the past. Neoliberal ideology made us believe that we have overcome the division of classes, that physical labor is not necessary in this society, and that everyone can be a service provider, you just have to be smart and creative enough. Those were lies. The division still exists within the overdeveloped world, especially from a global perspective. Yes, capitalism has changed its face. But is it really so much different than it was 100 years ago? The mantra of today's European governments, "There is no alternative," is pure ideology camouflaged as pragmatism.
But are fetishes the problem? Fetishes are not generally good or bad. It's their context. the kind of story they tell that matters the most. In our society, fetishes are bound to commodities, goods made for the purpose of exchange through the abstract medium of money.
We can see fetishes everywhere. On the one hand, they are objects that are loaded with the imagined value of human labor, both manual and intellectual, and all of the human interactions involved in their production. On the other hand, they represent the transfer of otherwise unexpressed desires, especially sexual ones, to external objects. How can we possibly break out of our roles in society if we are not aware which party we are actually playing for?
Digital technology has given us a second life. We partly live in the physical reality and partly in a digital, non-physical fantasy world. We cannot altogether skip physical production and escape entirely to an intangible online world. The internet alone will not save us.
We rush from one short-term impression to another. We click through, flip forward, until we forget what we were actually looking for. Imagine something. The arts have the right and the obligation to be fictive. Sense and its sensation are constructed into narratives and knitted into the future. Big companies and governmental institutions are disseminating their ideologies into society. They embed their ideas in the collective consciousness while protecting them with copyrights. We are absolutely legitimate in appropriating, using and developing them in whatever way we like. They are already ours in the very moment we use them and think about them and therefore reproduce them.
We don't compete. We simply disagree. That's our trick.
We have outsourced our imagination, and now it's time to claim it back in order to be truly self-sufficient. The cultural junk we see day in and day out has infected our brains. The pixelated image has made us forget the unique individual expression. We have to start creating ourselves again and search for our personal fantasy and handwriting.
Shouldn't we reconsider the values of laziness and excess? Putting aesthetic production under the regime of economic productivity and marketability is actually killing creativity. We could only develop high culture because we overfulfilled our basic needs. Reality is made, and fetishes, although imagined, are real too. We like to engage with the fetish, and we can enjoy them as humans have for thousands of years. But we want to be conscious of them, and we don't only want to make them for the sake of generating money or attention. Go! Make it real! Let's make and think at the same time. Try to find a good path, but don't fear to take a shortcut and walk through the undergrowth.
If you don't want it, you maybe shouldn't make it. All the big contemporary threats that we are facing, economic crisis, war, climate change, all of them are man-made. In a society such as ours, in which aesthetic representation and creative production have such a predominant role, the role of the aesthetic producer is actually one of great power. Although a union-like organization of creative producers seems to be illusory, this idea holds great potential for a general change in society.
Being both physically and mentally just as strong as ignorant. Finding something unexpected, something you never knew existed.
Permanently changing stimuli is only one way of aestheticizing experience. The aesthetics of repetition, meaning the perception of one aesthetic stimulus over time or repeatedly, can bring us to deeper insight and understanding. We want to take our time to see, hear, feel. We want to give things time to deliver their aesthetic experience.
In all of these fields, we have the opportunity to become superheroes. All we need to do is find a tight-fitting suit. Illusion, trust, intuition and willpower. That's what we need. With them, we can make as many experiments as we need to. And come out as superheroes, without expectation, without knowledge, and without fear. Without fear. Without fear. Without fear.